What's going on? My name is Michael Barayev. I got my boy E. Crizzle, E. Shizzle, Eric Chris over here, my co-host, my partner in the Spitting Fire podcast. And as you guys know, every single week we come at you, we spit fire. That's my boy right there. Listen, today we're going to talk about what?
Clarity.
Clarity. How do you create clarity as an entrepreneur, business owner, salesperson, or even an individual that wants to become a better you? So when it comes to creating clarity, I want to ask a couple of questions. Like, what is it that clogs someone's clarity, so to say? I don't even know what the opposite of clarity is, but like, what is it that clogs someone's ability to be clear-minded, in your opinion?
I think there's physical elements, and then I think there's psychological elements, and I think both play a role into your clarity. So, I mean, I could probably sit here and talk about a lot of things, physically, but I think it's a combination, right? Like, if you don't eat healthy, or you don't exercise, or you don't get enough oxygen to your brain, or if you don't get enough sleep, or if you do things that can be harmful for your body, like take drugs, obviously that's going to create a lot of cloudiness days.
Yeah.
And so you're probably not going to be sharp as a tack, as you like to say, because of those things. So I think I always believe in just going back to the fundamentals, because there's a million things you can start doing, right, when it comes to your health or mental clarity. But I think you have to start chipping away at the big things. If you ask any doctor, what are some things I can do to be healthier physically, mentally, all these things, I think they'll always go back to just start with your diet and your exercise, and maybe even your sleep.
Sleep is important.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, like, people say, "Oh, I'll sleep I'll sleep when I'm dead." That's bullshit. You need some sleep, because like when I get bad sleep, I can't function.
You could probably go one day, but I think this idea of sleep, now the healthier you are, the more physically, capable you are, you could probably get away with shorter hours. But especially if you're not really healthy, you're not going to be able to function without, my opinion, 7 to 9 hours. So getting the right sleep, eating the right foods, getting enough oxygen to your brain by maybe, doing more, exercise as far as cardio, and then also making sure that there's nothing like physically wrong with you. Sometimes people have, arteries that are more clogged up, or, they're not breathing right, or some people have sleep disorders, sleep apnea, where they're not sleeping properly because of their breathing, and that sometimes can fuck things up.
So that's more of the physical
Yeah,
stuff.
there's a lot of physical stuff, right? And I'm big onto the physical components of it. I think also not having, not having any goals, or not.
So that's the psychological stuff.
Yeah, then on the psychological side, there's things like making sure you have goals, making sure that you're seeing progress and hitting certain targets, or at least moving towards those targets.
It's a big one right there, I think. Yeah, a lot of people they don't have clarity because they don't know what they want.
Yeah, also
they don't know where they're going. They're kind of like lost in the sauce, like I like to say. When I was 19, I had no idea.
You don't know
what
what you like. You don't know what you want. Maybe you don't have the right mentorship to kind of help guide you in those directions, or you've gotten knocked down a lot of times and you don't have the wherewithal or the mental fortitude to fight past that, so it's creating some cloudiness. Or maybe you just, I think, have gone too many days of doing the same thing over and over and over without taking a break to kind of sit back and say, let me clear some of the dust, My mom used to say, you can only see in the water when, the dust settles. So if you're kicking your feet in the sand and you're underwater, it's going to be very cloudy. But when the dust settles,
we went scuba diving. It was kind of murky one of these days because the hurricane kicked in, and we just went into the scuba diving. And 2 weeks after the hurricane, the waters were still murky.
Yeah, sometimes just doing things back to back to back to back to back without any breaks, or without any time to kind of look at things. Things can get a little cloudy.
That's why I love Sabbath, like the Saturday for the Jewish people to not work. It's just a good day to just kind of like pause everything, right? Like have some clearness, so to say. What would you call it? It's
clarity.
Clarity, right? But it's just having like that day to not do nothing. Just kind of like sit back and just be clear with all your thoughts. Like not thinking about business, not thinking about money, not thinking about family, not thinking about nothing. Just thinking about just nothing. And that one day to just think about nothing helps. At least it's been helping me a lot lately. Because I'm always the kind of guy that's go, 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 go. The Saturday kicks in, I'm like, stop. I wake up whenever the hell my body tells me to wake up. I go to the gym, pump some iron, I go eat a nice meal. It's like 30, 40, 50 bucks sometimes because I just want a good meal, And then I kind of do nothing. I watch some videos. I'm very relaxed. Sit on my balcony, lay down, pet the dogs. Like my whole Saturday is like that. And it's been really good. Pet the dog and change the light bulb. Right? But to me, I've been doing it lately for quite some time, and it's been one of the most therapeutic things ever because it creates more clarity. Because then Sunday kicks in and I work a little bit that day, right? But it gives me that clear like my mind just opens up to like, wow, this is what I want to do. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to improve on, right? This, which also helps you become more introspective with yourself. So being clear with what you want and clear where you want to go is so important. I think so many people are just lost a little bit.
I think it gets easier with age, but it also gets harder with age because you obviously you get more knowledgeable. You become a little bit more in touch with who you are. By the time you're like 50, 60, 70, there's certain level of clarity that you might not have when you're in your 20s or teens or even 30s, but physically, biologically, or physiologically, it sometimes can become more challenging if you start getting early signs of dementia or Alzheimer's. Obviously, clarity becomes much more challenging. So as long as you don't have those diseases and you stay sharp and you make sure you do your little puzzles, your reading, or you attend some type of stimulating exercises, you should have more clarity as you get older. I think if you're in your 20s, you don't need to be 100% perfectly clear. You just have to. You don't have to see 20 miles ahead of you, but you should start seeing 5 miles ahead of you.
But that's all the physical stuff, right? The psychological stuff is what really people are mostly lacking. They're not clear on what they actually see. They don't see themselves clearly. They don't know who the hell they are.
No, not necessarily what I'm saying, because if you think about it, a 20-year-old, the reason they're not clear is usually most people are physically healthy at 20.
Correct.
They just don't have the goals, or they don't have the idea of what they want and how they're going to get there. So there's some fogginess as far as where.
So how do you get more clear? Like, how do you get more clarity in your life? Like, what can you do as an individual, or what do you do as an individual to get yourself more clear outside of the physical aspect? Like,
well, I think you have to try new things, right? You don't know what most people figure things out by default. They say, all right, I don't know what I want to do as a career, so let me go into this field. They try it for 6 months, and either they fall in love with it and they build clarity, or they realize, you know what, this isn't really for me, but at least I've cleared that, that out of my way. So you can kind of, I'm not saying, jump from job to job to job, but
like Gary Vee likes to say, test the waters, try a bunch of shit.
Yeah, try a bunch of stuff. When you're young, especially, you can try some things and fail, or try some things and it not work out, and everything will be okay. Don't feel like you have to find your career path or your life's mission at 20 years old, and be okay with having, not being as clear at that age in those things, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, I think I'm a big believer, even though I don't really do it that much, I've heard people talk about, I follow, I don't know if the audience knows Ray Dalio, but, he's a multi-billionaire in finance and economics, and he believes in meditation, as one of his saving graces to create clarity in his mind. And I think that just comes down to having that peace and solitude to yourself to kind of go inward, kind of clear out the cobwebs a little bit, get rid of the things that are, creating junk, in your trunk, and then also kind of organize your brain a little bit.
What about people that they know what they want, but they don't know how to get there? Like, they're clear with what they want, but they're not clear on the process that it's going to take to get there.
Well, then you have to, I think, obviously talk about mentorship and coaching. You have to have some people in your life that can help, that have the experience or have gotten those things to help guide you through that process. Or you have to be, you have to have ingenuity and be able to find out that information for yourself. You have to know where to go for information. Some people go to the wrong sources.
Yeah.
They go to YouTube, which is fine, but you have to know, what tree you're getting your fruit from.
Yeah, because a lot of the information on YouTube there's a lot of free stuff out there. Nothing wrong with that. Just you got to be careful what you absorb, and you got to be a good filter. Because like a course, in my opinion, this is why I like courses. A course is a specific amount of information designed for you to get the knowledge that you need for that specific topic. On YouTube, there's a bunch of shit out there. Like this may be a good video for you. This may not. Right? Who knows? Maybe you don't need to be more clear. Maybe you're so freaking clear, you just need to go create action. Or maybe you're watching this video, you need to get more clear with your goals.
Books doesn't have to be a course.
Courses, video, anything that's going to stimulate your five senses, in my opinion. Right? I like to go to events because it stimulates all of them.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I mean, even though it can be labeled as entertainment, even sometimes like a movie can create clarity. You see a story, you watch someone's story or a documentary, and it makes you realize, man, like this is something that I really want to get involved in, or that's not the person I would ever want to be. So I'm gonna start doing things that are, help me to become better in these areas.
100%. A movie that I watched lately that really helped me out a lot, like this is a couple years back, Inception. What a great movie. What a great movie. It changed my whole sales career. Because I started to say to myself, wait a minute, I need to change the way I start selling, right? So instead of forcing an opinion into someone, I wanted to believe that opinion, their idea, right? So it changed my whole trajectory of my sales game, right? Watching The Wolf of Wall Street, I was like, damn, I love that camaraderie. I just don't want to do it the wrong way because look what happens. You do it the wrong way, that's why integrity kicked in. Because when I watched it in 2013, I was surrounded by people that weren't living their life with integrity sometimes, and I didn't like that. And I didn't know if it was the right thing or the wrong thing because they had all this money. In the Diamond District, everyone has a lot of money, but they're not doing it with the most high, not with high integrity. So I was kind of like, do I really have to like do things the wrong way to make money? Like, is that the only way to make money? Watching that movie, I was like, holy shit, no. Because if you do it the wrong way, you're going to come crashing and burning down that hill. And that's what ended up happening with Wolf of Wall Street, right? That's what happened with Jordan Belfort. That's what happened to all those people that we hear about on the news sometimes, like, the FTX guy not too long ago. When you do shit the wrong way, it may seem like you're going like this in the beginning, but eventually you'll start crashing and burning. So some of those movies, like watching that, made me realize, holy shit, if I'm going to build a business, I'm going to do it with 100% integrity. My clarity kicked in. I'm like, how I want to get things done. Like, I'm going to be 100% full of integrity, not lie, not cheat, not steal, do it the right way and still make money. So a lot of times you're right. Movies do help a lot. Movies do help a lot.
Also, and maybe it's a question for you, is like, do you feel like that in my mind, there's kind of like two types of people. People who just kind of take everything they hear and see at face value, and then people who question things and are more curious about, what's really going on. And I think when you start to question things, maybe you agree, it kind of can create some clarity because you're like, if you just take everything at face value, there's going to be, the wool gets pulled over your face. You might think you see things the clear.
Correct.
But
and that's how I was when I was younger, 19, 20, 21. I was very like, what's that word?
Naive.
Naive. I was also like wet behind the ears. I didn't really know too much, right? And what I needed to learn was that I needed to trust I needed to not only trust the information, but I needed to trust the source. But even if I trust the information or trust the source, I question the shit out of it. And we're Jewish, right? So in our religion, we're actually supposed to. Most religions say don't question it, do what you're told, and that's it, right? In the Jewish religion, we actually have to ask questions. It's actually a commandment to be curious and ask, why is God real? Where does it show that proof? If the Torah is real, like you got to question it, right? To understand it, because God wants us to understand. Right? Clarity is important. We need to understand like what we're talking about. And if you don't question it, you just go, well, I have to listen because I was told to do that. That's not really smart. But if you question it and you study it and you find out the truth, as an example, that God is real, like, wow. Now you're able to build that belief in yourself because you know it's real, right? You convince yourself because you saw the facts. So that's why I like to be the guy that actually, as when I was younger, I really didn't do this. But as I started to grow older, I started to realize, okay, I trust everybody, but I verify after that. Like, I trust you. Like, for example, I say, yo, did you call so-and-so? Awesome, right? I trust you. But if it's my first time asking to do that, I'm going to go call the guy and say, hey, did Eric call you, do this and this and that, if you're my new employee as an example, right? And he's going to say, yeah, he did. I'm like, awesome. So I verified it. I do the second time, third time. After a while, you have consistency and congruency. Guess what? I don't have to trust you. Like, I don't have to go through someone's phone. I'm not going to go through your phone around to say, is Eric, selling drugs or some shit behind my back as a business or doing something illegal in the company? No, I trust him because I've verified him multiple times. He has ethics, he has morals, he knows what he's doing, and I trust you in that aspect. But in the beginning, when we first started talking, I don't know if you remember this or I remember this. I mean, you probably don't remember. I remember I used to verify everything that you said. Not because I didn't trust you, because I wanted to make sure that you were a real deal. And you probably did the same thing to me. Is Michael the real deal? Does he know what he's talking about? Does he have competency? Does he have congruency? Like, it's a natural thing to do that in any relationship you start with. Like, when I first met my fiance, I didn't trust her like, oh, I trust her 100%. I trusted her, but I verified the information to make sure she wasn't a liar, to make sure she wasn't a stealer, make sure she was a good person, maybe she wasn't like, catfishing me or whatever, right? I wanted to make sure it was the real deal. And as you build that relationship, you trust and you verify. You trust and you verify. And after a while, you just trust. So clarity comes from that, right? When you're clear about who you're with, like I told my fiance, if I ever catch her cheating on me or like that, it would shock and surprise the shit out of me. Because like she's giving me no signs of doing that stupid shit. Because I've tested that so many times when I was early on in our relationship to see if she was the real deal. asking her certain questions. How does she feel about ethics, values, morals? Watching her make those tough decisions. Like, for example,
Does she love dogs?
does she love dogs? She does, right? But can you imagine, like, let's say me and you are out, out and about, and I have high ethics, and someone, so you saw someone walk on the street and their wallet fell out of their pocket. If you were to see me take that wallet and I return it to that guy, what would you think of me?
I'd probably question you.
Yeah,
Like,
you probably
question who you are.
Question who the hell is Michael? Like, wait a minute. You talk about integrity, you talk about this, you talk about that, but you literally just saw the guy's wallet come out of his pocket, and you didn't tap on his shoulder and say, "Hey, you lost your wallet," right? And to me, that's like that's how you catch someone, right? You catch someone lying or cheating or stealing in their act. It's so easy to have integrity. It's so easy to have all these beautiful things. You can be clear about someone's intentions as well. But if you really want to be clear, put them in a tough situation. When things are tough, what do? Like, what happens when things are tough? Will they stab you in the back when things are tough? I respect loyalty, not when it's easy. It's very easy to be loyal to me when I'm giving you money, support, love, friendship, maybe I'm giving you children, whatever I'm giving you, right? As a woman, you give children to a man, whatever, right? It's very easy to be loyal to someone when things are going great. When things is not going great, where is that loyalty? Where is that respect? Where is that trust? Where is that clarity with that individual, right? You could see clearly their intentions when things are fucking tough for them. Because at that moment, they're thinking of survival or death. And I want to see what's going to go through their minds. Are they going to rat on their boy? Or they're going to say, you know what? It's my mistake. I put myself in that situation.
And I think if I could just say one last thing, and
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you can close it out. But I think just be careful. I have to remind myself this too a lot, to not go too far down the rabbit hole in like a philosophical sense, to the point where it's like, all right, you're trying to seek so much clarity that at the end of the day, it's like what does it all mean? Is life really what's the meaning of life? What's the purpose of life? And it's like, we're all going to die someday, and we're just a speck in the universe. It's like you can almost take meaning out of everything when you go so far down there.
Yep.
That sometimes it's better to just be a little bit more practical and say, okay,
Yes.
I am a human. I'll be here for about 80 to 100 years, hopefully.
Yep.
I want to live a happy life. I want to make others happy, and let me seek clarity within that world.
100%.
And all the universal truths that you might want to find in the armchair of existential philosophy. That's important, but don't go too far down there, because then you will become, just my last point is, you will become foggy and cloudy again, because that's too broad. That's too big.
I'm going to Greece next week, so I'm going to be around Aristotle and Plato, not Plato, whatever his name is.
Plato, yeah.
Plato, all these different philosophical individuals. I'm going to go to their museums and stuff like that. That's going to be a pretty amazing trip for me. But I learned a long time ago, I just believe in God, and I trust the Bible, and I started to research that and see that there was truth in that. And once I found that as to be my home, my beacon of hope, I stopped looking at all these other crazy meanings. Like, there's a meaning in my life. I have a purpose. There's some clarity in that. I don't know what my real purpose is in the whole grand scheme of things, but if I start digging so deep, like you just said, it's going to make your mind go crazy. Like, in reality, who are we? Let's start thinking about, it's so deep. It's so deep to keep thinking that deep. And what happens is people get lost in that deepness. So anyway, with that being said, get some clarity. Don't get too deep. Don't kill yourself with that mindset, but get clear about your goals. Get clear about your vision. Get clear about who you are and what you're about. Get clear about the people that are around you, and I promise your life will be 10 times better. So my name is Michael Barayev. You got my boy Eric Crizzle, E-Shizzle, E-Dizzle, E-Wizzle. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do me a solid and do what? Subscribe to the channel. Yes, you heard that right. Please, we appreciate that support, and we'll see you guys in the next video.